This episode of Chewing the Fat is brought to you by the Secret Hub Studios in conjunction with netchannel2.com. Good evening, everybody. Chewing the Fat, episode 19, back for another discussion of this week's antics, and it's going to be free-flowing tonight, and tonight we've got the free-flowing Mr. Glenn Goodman.
Hello, I'm free-flowing all over the place. You got no idea.
Oh, I can see from here.
How are we doing, everyone?
I've
got no stories tonight. We got the paper out. We're just going to go through the paper conversational style.
That's right. We're going to do Lawsy Jonesy style. Bit of rant, bit of rave, completely no information, and we got no right to comment on any of this stuff.
That's right. None at all. But what the hell? You're
no
going to hear it anyway.
But a bit of a laugh.
Yeah, that's right.
All
well,
right.
You can lead the way into the forest, and I'll see if I can find my way back.
All right. Now, political correctness gone haywire here, and it always happens around Christmas time. During the week, a school, of course, because they're run by, left-leaning socialist union members that vote Labor. A school is accused of stealing Christmas after removing all references to Santa, carols, and Christianity in end-of-year celebrations. Do you believe that shit?
Stooges.
Frickin'
They're
idiots.
stooges. Is this what type of school is this? Is this a Christian school, or was a Christian school, or is it a?
Well, it's a Montessori school.
And what are they?
A Montessori school is a method of teaching. Montessori was invented by an Italian person a couple of hundred years ago, and it's a method of teaching. So they're non-denominational.
Right.
Non-denominational. They don't. They're not Christian. They're not Muslim. They're not Buddhist. They're not Jewish. But I would say, because we are in a country that is predominantly Christian, then that would suggest that the people at the school were predominantly Christian. Hence, they should be allowed to celebrate Christmas. But they're saying, we don't want to hurt anyone. We don't want to hurt anyone.
Was this brought around by someone complained? Or what? How do you know how it sort of came about to happen?
Well, it says here, 3 to 6 year olds at the inner Sydney. Oh, of course, inner Sydney. Geez, that's not a bloody pack of frickin' what's. Inner Sydney's Montessori school replaced the festive lyrics, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," with "We wish you a Happy Holidays."
Yeah, it's a joke, isn't it? Like fair income. But what's going on? Why can't you wish people Merry Christmas these days?
Well, it's just freaking ridiculous.
I heard that someone complained. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, they probably did. No, someone did this. One angry parent said he would withdraw his daughter from the Balmain, of course, Balmain school next year. The dad, who did not wish to be identified, said there were 5 songs and not one of them mentioned Christmas. There was no Santa or Christmas decorations or a Christmas tree or any reference to Jesus. Is this politically correct? I don't understand. This is what happens when you've got a socialist frickin' government running the country.
Yeah, but these things, they do happen every year. It doesn't matter, I think, who's running the show. But what, so this father's going to take the kid out of the school, what, because there's no references to Santa in protest of this decision?
Correct.
Right. I would too. I would too.
Boot him out. You know what? Let's put it this way. If you and I packed up our kids and said, right, I've got a job transfer and I'm going to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, right?
Yeah.
Muslim country, very nice part of the world. They're not they're Muslims how Muslims normally are, and they're peaceful and they're kind and they're warm and they're welcoming. But I would go to a school there that may teach Arabic as a language. They may celebrate their religious holidays, and I would not expect them to make any concessions for me, because I'm in their country, and I should just, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. That's simple.
Go try your luck in Saudi Arabia.
Exactly.
Some woman said she can cure illnesses through whatever, and they cut her head off. They reckon it was witchcraft. They cut her head off.
Well, that's got nothing to do with the fact that she said she could cure an illness. If that was a man said it can cure an illness, he's a hero. But women are second-class citizens in some parts of the Middle East. Not all.
77 people have had their head cut off this year. in over there, Saudi Arabia.
Well, that's lovely.
That's
That's lovely. Merry Christmas.
talking about cutting off. Craig Thompson. Apparently, there's a thing in the Sydney Morning Herald
God,
that
this
he's.
guy. Jeez, you know what? This free-flowing discussion has just given me high blood pressure. Fair income. Continue.
You need some you need some Valium. But anyway, so what's he done? What's going on here? What's he done here?
I'll tell you what he's done. He's cut and paste from Wikipedia his report on his supposed freaking study tour that cost $25,000. He's gone, I'm going on a study tour because I've got to study this, that, and the other. And he's gone over there. He's had a holiday, obviously. He's done no freaking study at all. He's just been a bludger on our taxpayers' money. He's come back and he's cut and pasted a report and he's lifted speeches and content from other people and put it in his report, passes off as his own, making it worse. He hands it in 4 months late.
Yes, I know. It's supposed to be in, but the reports are supposed to be in 30 days or something after they return or something. And it's 4
supposed
months.
to be, to prove your accountability, hand it in. You've got an assignment to do. Could you imagine if he worked for a company and he had to, you got to do this because, shareholders or whatever need this, blah, 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 by this sort of date, and he put in 4 months late, he wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. He would have been fired on the frickin' spot.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But it sounds like he's just as unpopular as this Slipper guy. Apparently he's he's pretty unpopular up in, where is he, Maroochydore or somewhere?
Yeah, Slippery Pete.
Yeah, he's great. He's going crazy too. But
I can't stand these guys. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's dodgy. But what's going on with you guys? New South Wales and Victoria made some pact or something, have you?
No. What pact?
New South Wales and Victoria have managed to strike a deal to accelerate efficiency-boosting reforms.
Oh, well, that's more. What's that bullshit about? There's more. It's more. Let's just throw a few big words out there, and the electorate will believe that we're doing something. What are they saying they're doing this time?
Blah blah blah. They're not doing anything really. They are. They're just wording off. They're mouthing off. New South Wales and Victoria have managed to strike a deal to accelerate efficiency-boosting reforms.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I know. Outside Australia's traditional multi-government forum.
What the frick does that mean? It's meaningless shit.
It is, isn't it? It is, isn't it? It's just crazy.
Tell me how you're gonna make it more efficient. Don't just come out with a word, you government boffins who know nothing.
Yeah, Liberal Premier Barry O'Farrell and Ted Baillieu, so both Liberals, have forged an interstate reform partnership, striving for cost-saving and investment-attracting reforms that might take years to achieve through traditional structures.
All right, well, that's good effort. Well done. Continue.
Yeah.
Go on your study tour and give us your report.
We believe there's a very powerful role to play for COAG, but there is also a role for New South Wales and Victoria to drive reform, to lead reform. Yeah, it's just all wank.
Oh, look, it's just words. Look, I don't care what side of government you're on. I'm a Liberal supporter, but that's bullshit.
Yeah, they've agreed to greater cooperation of skills training, especially the regulation of apprenticeships. Like, it's just all... There's no election
crap
down there. What's going on?
Oh, is there? But is there? Is there? I know there's not one up here. Maybe.
You're not going to get your election before Christmas.
No. Oh, I know.
You're out.
I know.
You're out.
I think I'm skating on thin ice at the moment.
Oh, very thin. That'd have to be an assassination.
Wink, wink. Nod, wink, wink.
Don't go anywhere there. You'll have the bloody feds on you and listen in on this and
they don't listen to the
podcast.
They're busy freaking working out whether they're going to get a pay rise too.
Yeah. Well, look, I don't mind them getting the pay rise as long as the idea behind it.
Look, like we said a few weeks ago, this is about putting in long-term reforms to attract a better candidate. Unfortunately, the fucktards of the current government are going to benefit from it.
Well, yeah, that's right. And look, if they had more people like, I don't know, self-made people. Like Malcolm Turnbull.
Look, even Malcolm Fraser, even John Howard, even Peter Costello.
Mm.
You know, these people made it before they went into politics. And they didn't go to politics to get corrupt and to get sleazy and to get backhanded contracts like all Labor people do, because they can't make money any other way because they're all stupid. They don't need the money.
Yeah.
You know,
if
you go in there and you don't need the money, there's no temptation to get corrupt.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. It's like that like that tard, that forage slap in Queensland, got away with 16 mil. You heard about that?
What a knobhead this bloke was. He's telling everyone he was the Tahitian royal family. You're a frickin' Maori.
That's right. His friends come out and go, I knew there was something not right with that story.
No, I don't know what was going on. You know what his lawyer said? His lawyer said, at the moment, my biggest concern is his health. Really? His health? Really? What about the 16 million that he ripped off? What about that?
Yeah, well, apparently it was all destined for charity. Well, it was after he got caught.
Yeah, his charity.
But, yeah, he bought a $10 million house or unit or whatever he lives in up in Brisbane somewhere.
Dang,
so,
10 million in Brisbane. You could buy Brisbane for 9.
9.6.
Okay.
But yeah, he's like, it's insane. Like someone else,
it just comes out this time of year. All the crazies come out. It must be a full moon.
Well, it was last Saturday night. Did you see it? The red one.
I didn't see the red one. I know you did because you're out foo fighting.
Yes, that was F for Freddie. Yeah, foo fighting.
That's right.
And that was good. The moon eclipsed and it became red.
Was it blood red? Was it vampire red?
Oh, look, I didn't think it was that blood red. It had a tinge to it.
Ah, no, I don't want tinge. I want blood. I want vampire. I want Halloween.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen the moon explode.
Yeah.
And then where would we be?
And then we could prove once and for all that man did not land on the moon and it was a massive setup. But that's for another podcast.
Yeah. How's that guy, that Microsoft guy? He's building that plane.
Oh, Mr. Paul Allen. Paul Allen, one of the co-founders, correct? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah. He's going to be building this plane, but its wingspan's about 100 meters, and it's going to take the rocket ship. It's going to fly the rocket ship.
Yeah. It's the plane that actually, it carries the ship. Is that the one? Yes. Right.
Yeah, and then the ship is actually launched like high up in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So therefore, it doesn't have to take all this fuel and burn all the fuel just to to lift off from the Earth where it's really heavy down here.
Well, they do that. They do that with the space shuttle when they're landing.
Yeah, that's right.
No, sorry, start again. Initially, years ago, I think 25 years ago, initially they used to tack the space shuttle to the top of a big jumbo. And the jumbo would fly up as high as it could. I think it's 60 or 70,000 feet. Because I think you break the atmosphere at about 80 or 90,000, right? So the jumbo would go right up to 70,000 as far as it could go. And then the space shuttle would just slingshot off the top of the jumbo and then fly off.
Right.
And then in recent years, they were just doing the space shuttle as a normal liftoff from, Kennedy Space Center.
Yeah.
Doing that. And then in the early days too, they didn't. They used to land on their own. That's right. They were just giving the slingshot when they used to take off. That's right. But if you want to know there's Richard Branson, go to Virgin Galactic. Richard Branson he's selling flights now to the moon. They'll have their first flight in, I think he said 18 months to the moon, $200,000 per ticket.
So I noticed with interest that this Ted Bailey, he goes, I'm not going to be the first to jump on this plane or into the rocket. He says, I'm probably not be the first in the first 1,000.
Right.
So he's going to build it, but he doesn't want to fly in it.
Well, he's probably thinking, I need a test pilot for this. I'm no idiot.
Yeah. Now listen, late news just to hand, which I'll read with interest because it just appeared on my iPad as I was going through news stories, actually. Molly Meldon's in the hospital.
Yeah, he's fallen off a ladder, apparently.
Yeah, so that's no good. He's in critical condition, induced coma. Fell off a ladder at around about, ambulance were called at about 6:40 p.m. daylight saving time tonight. So that's no good at all. So I hope he goes all right. He's only 65.
How old is he?
Years left in him yet.
He's 65, did you say?
Yeah.
God, he looks a lot younger than that. He's been around forever, but he looks a lot younger than 65.
Yeah, he probably dyes a little bit of his hair that hangs out of his hat.
Never had any kids, that helps. Helps keep you young.
It does. Look at all my grey hair.
Well,
that's only come in the last 6 years.
Look at this.
Yeah, that's a joke. But anyway, that's what happens.
Well, speaking of jokes, Australia among the world's priciest on food and housing. Like, we already knew that, but let's continue on this. Forget the lucky country. Australia has been branded the land of the great big rip-off. You listening, Jerry Harvey? It is absurd that staples such as fruits and vegetables are several, not a couple, but several times more expensive than in Europe. DVDs and books can be bought far cheaper offshore. Well, we know that. I order all my DVDs and books from Amazon. The same cars cost twice as much as compared with overseas, which is true. I've got a cousin in the United States who drives the same car as me, and he paid exactly half what I paid.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And housing is less affordable than some of the world's biggest cities. That is true. So, what do you think about that?
Look, I think I don't know why this culture of just having to make money at all costs, or screwing everyone for the last dime, and
but you know what it is. I don't think it is that, but beneath that, what's happening is these poor retailers, and I say poor retailers in inverted commas, they're getting screwed by their rents. Now, your brother runs a shop, right? Now he has to break even and then add a little bit for profit. And he's not getting greedy. He just wants to make 5 or 10%, right? Net profit. But in order to price his goods, he's got to consider all his costs. And one of the biggest costs in Australian business is rent, whether it be commercial rent or retail rent space. Now, who owns the majority of retail rents in this country? Frank Lowy, Westfield. He is the one that is screwing everybody. If he dropped his rents, the price of our goods would fall, because that is the biggest cost by far, aside from staff, which are also extremely well paid compared to other countries, but unfortunately they get paid and they don't do anything. You walk into a bloody David Jones store and they run the other direction because you're interfering with their frickin' social life.
That's right. You're interfering with their Facebook post.
So yes, and that's part of the reason. And then there's what your reason is. They go, well, you know what? These people are used to paying high prices, so let's screw them a little bit more. And then, like I said in the past.
Well, is our market too small? Have we not got enough competition?
Well, that depends, because some would say it is too small, and some would say it's a combination of the size of the market and the geographical size of the nation, right? Because your distances and blah, blah, blah. But consider this. The distance to import goods from China to Sydney is no further than Sydney to Perth, just say, or give or take, an hour or 1,000 kilometres, right? Now, Sydney is the size is 5 or 6 million people. Singapore is 5 or 6 million people, and their prices, in a lot of cases, are half the price of Australia. Now, that is a small economy. Australia's got 20 million people. They've got 6. Why is things cheaper there? Okay, they don't have health care. Their healthcare system is not as good as Australia, so they pay less taxes. I understand it. But just putting that aside and just looking at their retail pricing of everything, a lot of their stuff is a hell of a lot cheaper than Australia.
Yeah, look, I just think, you get the things like the Coles and the Woolies, that they sort of get together and screw the farmer. You see the little greengrocer in the corner store at the supermarket. Every morning you see the guy from Woolies out there checking to see how much his prices are. He'll go back and reduce his price in the Woolworths store.
Well, see,
just to undercut this little guy.
Yeah, that's right. There's no competition. That's the other thing. Aldi can't compete properly because, unfortunately, Aldi brings in goods. The quality isn't as good as Coles, and there's a lot of home Aldi brand stuff there. Now, a lot of consumers like to buy the Campbell's soup rather than a no-name soup. And they don't mind paying the extra 50 cents. But you go to Aldi, and generally, you buy an Aldi soup and you'll throw it up.
No, not that bad.
Well, I reckon it is. But there is no competition, and there's this, whenever you get a duopoly, whether it be airlines, the supermarkets, and to an extent the banks, you're going to get high prices. Always. You bring more, because Woolies and Coles, they're making billions of dollars. So they can't say, we've dropped them far enough.
Mm. Mm. But yeah. But what's your take on? Say you mentioned the banks there. What's your take on ANZ coming out going, stuff the Reserve Bank decisions? We're just going to do our decisions when we feel like it.
Well,
our rate decisions. The second Friday of every month or something.
Yeah, there's two schools of thought in that. Westpac said something similar today as well when Gail Kelly said, "Yeah, bastards." Well, yeah, there's no collusion there whatsoever. I'm not accusing anybody.
No, they're just copycatting.
Yeah, that's right. Gail Kelly said, there's no guarantees that we will follow in the future the Reserve Bank rates. Now, okay, fine, that's their prerogative. They've got to think of their shareholders. Okay, no problem. But the interest rates went down last month, and this month just happened, and the month before. So it's down. We're down 0.5% in 2 months, and my mortgage is a little bit easier to pay, as yours would be right now.
Yeah.
Now, the school of thought is if you lower it too much, because Australia, unfortunately, 50% of the population are morons and the other 50% aren't. So it's always a 50-50. And, some people go, oh, interest rates will drop, and they start spending money again. And not just spending money on things that they need or things that are productive. They spend money on crap.
Yeah.
It's just that consumer spending, and that suddenly that drives up inflation.
Yeah.
And then when inflation goes up, you've got to raise interest rates again. So, in a way, I sort of don't want the banks to drop them any further. In one respect, like in an overall economic sense, I don't want them to drop it because there are idiots out there that are going to spend money on crap, get into more debt. We're going to have the same problem over again, and interest rates are going to get worse. So, in an overall economic sense, but on a personal level, yes, I would like them to drop it. Absolutely.
But it's not even just the 50%, because, like, say you said the 50% were morons. Well, half of that 50% would be renters anyway, wouldn't it? So they don't give a shit about interest rates.
No, they don't. But yeah, they don't. They don't generally give a shit about interest rates as far as their mortgage goes. But it's a psychological thing. They think money's cheaper, so I'll spend more. Money's cheap. Suddenly my credit cards are cheaper. The general buoyancy in the environment, the atmosphere is people are a lot happier when interest rates go down. So they're, I'm eating out 5 nights a week instead of 1 night a week. I'm blind everything on my credit card again.
But what's this like? You hear the banks and they say, "Oh, we've got to, we can't lower the interest rates any further because the cost of money for us to buy the money is high."
It is getting higher. It is getting.
But how can it be high if all the other countries overseas they've got interest rates of like 1% and 0.5%? How can it be high? Where are they shopping?
Well, that's Japan, United States, but see, their money's cheap, but it's not easy to get.
Right.
So,
but then,
if you can't get it from them, you've got to get it from somewhere else.
We've got a strong banking system, so wouldn't the people that have the money be eager to lend to an economy that is going good? Because the people who've got the money still want to return, so why not lend even at a cheaper price?
But a lot of these countries don't have any money.
Yeah, but we do.
Yes, we do.
But why do our banks have to buy?
I think what's happening is the interest rates they're paying on their deposits. In days gone by, you've worked in the bank, I've done in the bank. The margin between deposit interest rates and mortgage interest rates, there's usually a reasonable buffer on that.
Yeah.
So you're paying 4% on your term deposit, and you were lending out at 6.5 or 6. That's tightened up a bit. You're lending at 6.5 when you're paying deposits at 5.5, because you don't want to lose your depositors, because the competition for deposits is so fierce that everyone's worried that the likes of ING, for example, who are getting their money cheaply from overseas, are offering term deposits at 6%. The banks can't match that. If the banks started putting the term deposit at 6% and they're lending out at 6.5, that's pretty tight. Yeah,
I get that. Yeah. So I don't know. It's the better for me anyway. So
the economics of it have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
So I do understand that aspect, but personally, I would like it to drop. Sure, I would. Of course, I would. But overall, I'm not sure.
Tell me, what side of the fence do you sit on when it comes to bashing cabbies?
Mate, you know what? Call me Matt, give me a beer and smack the cabbie. That's what I say.
Oh, what is happening to this guy? I only heard the story. I never read about it. But what? So he's jumped into a cab. Hang on, let's have a look. Yeah, so Matt Newton has smacked the cabbie in the nose.
Yes.
Um,
At 10:30 in the morning.
oh, jeez. Yeah, about 10:20 a.m. on Sunday, the man, Matt, caught a taxi from Crow's Nest. It's alleged he became aggressive towards the 66-year-old taxi driver, like an old guy, poor bloke, punched him in the head. And anus horribilis, it's been described as.
Yeah, horrible, yeah. The Queen had one of those. She was sore for a while.
Yeah, jeez.
No, he's a train wreck. He's an absolute train wreck. I don't know what's going on there. His parents would be so proud.
That's so bad, eh?
And
it's so bad.
Like PA says in the chat room, he needs locking up. And I think he will get a locking up after this, because wouldn't he have breached his good behaviour bond?
Well, you think so. You can't go around punching cabbies in the head.
You know, how many chances is this bloke going to get? He's had 2 assault charges against women. Well done. You know, that makes you're my hero. Beating up women, that's fantastic, because that's real hard to do.
Tough guy.
He's actually, mate, Aussie. He lives in Sydney, but he's from Melbourne, mate. Bert Newton's from Melbourne. Moonface. Yes. One of your fellas.
That's right.
So, look, I don't know what he's going to do. He's got to go back to rehab or something. I don't know what substance abuse he's on. I don't know whether it's drugs or alcohol or both. I don't have no idea. But he needs help. He needs help, and quickly. And sometimes the best way to get help is to just lock him up. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. He just needs a bit of a break. Now, I listened to an interview with Julia Gillard, and I find it intriguing, and I wondered if this happens all the time when there's, say, a newish government takes power. But you listen to every time either Julia talks or one of the, well, not every time, but, you know, when they talk about why they're doing this or why they're doing that or what's going on, they'll always, for 9 times out of 10, they'll go, well, when John Howard did this, you know, or why do they keep having to go back? Did they actually respect this man? You know, like, did they respect him so much that they're putting him up on a pedestal and say, well, John did this, so this is why we're doing it, or John could do this is why we're doing it. Well, do you know what I mean? Like, all the time, they're always saying that
they're using Johnny as a justification for their own actions, obviously. And I wouldn't be surprised when they say, oh, but John did this. They're probably twisting what he actually did do. And if you look into it, they'll probably think, well, hang on a minute, he actually didn't do that. You're just saying he did that because you think that's going to make you sound like you're just doing what Johnny did. And if it's okay with Johnny, it's okay with me. But if you, because, you know, they're very selective in what the grabs they grab. So I wouldn't put much faith in I don't think they have no respect for Johnny whatsoever. Let me tell you, they hate his guts.
Yeah, I know, but they always make the reference.
Oh, because it's pointing the finger.
It just makes me think that he must have been so good at his job.
Oh, well, he was good at his job, but it's also like someone pointed in a chat room, if it turns to shit, they can blame someone else. So they're just saying, well, Johnny did it, and we're just following Johnny, so it's really Johnny's fault.
That's why when you go to an interview with the public service, there's at least 3 people on the panel.
Yes.
Because then you can't blame one person.
That's right, for hiring a numbnuts.
That's right. That's right. But but the reason I brought Howie up, old Johnny boy, was he's put his name into support of the book about climate change.
Climate change.
A book called How to Get Expelled from School.
What?
And yeah, that's what it's called. But it's about climate change, and that's not actually as bad as what getting made out to. It's a bit of a fraud.
Right. Okay.
Because what do you believe in climate change? Or that humans have contributed to climate change?
Well, I believe they've contributed to not just climate change, but environmental. And I'm no greenie, don't get me wrong, but I think they've contributed to environmental destruction. Just look at the tree. They're chopping down every freaking tree in the Amazon jungle, and they're still going.
Yeah.
You know, and fossil fuels is part of that, I suppose. But I disagree with how the government is handling it. You don't want, you know, they're taxing, they're literally taxing the air you breathe. Now, that was a joke 100 years ago. You know, what's next? They're going to tax your air you breathe. Well, you know what? 100 years later,
They're
they
doing it.
are. That's exactly what they're doing. But no,
But
yes,
look-
climate change is definitely going on. Look, Sydney now, it's summer, 15th of December. It was 20 degrees today.
But that's climate change in reverse.
It's no. There's global warming and there's climate change.
Yeah.
Climate
But
change
I think-
climate change means the climate is changing, whether it's getting hotter or getting colder.
I
That's
think
climate change.
it's just a natural cycle.
Well, yes, there's part of that too. I believe that I believe in some respect there is a lot of that as well, because they've done studies that suggest that you know 50 years ago we had the same thing happen. So there's no real proof at the end of the day that we have contributed as much as they say we've contributed.
But like the climate on the Earth is just not because we just evolve around the sun. The sun roams around the solar system. Well, the sun roams around the galaxy, and the galaxy roams around the cosmos, and probably the cosmos roams around the universe. Like, everything changes. I don't want to see.
Are you a climate denier?
I'm yes. What they're going on about now, I am. I don't think that. I think humans have a small input to global warming, but I don't think we've got. I think it's more.
I think
cyclical.
what you're thinking more. Okay. I'm more in this way. I'm more into the destruction of the environment generally. Chopping down thousands, millions of trees.
Stop.
I want to see that stopped. And I've been in places in Asia where mountains have just collapsed and run away into villages because they've just chopped down every freaking tree on that mountain, and there's nothing holding up the dirt now, and people are just getting killed. And and suddenly carbon dioxide goes up, and then there's issues with that. But I don't know exactly how much human fossil fuel has attached to it. Everyone suggests, look, cows produce more methane and more harmful gases into the sky than humans do. So what are you going to do? Kill all the cows?
Yeah, you got volcanoes and all that. But
go to India. They don't eat cows. They've got the sacred cow in India. So I reckon that there's more cows in India than anywhere in the world. Blame them.
Yeah. Look, I want to see. I want to see cleaner technology. I want to see everything go a bit greener.
So
but on the same hand, I don't think that it's all contributing to this belief that we're making the world warmer and they're all going to suffer for it in 100 years.
I remember 20 years ago. It's so funny. 20 years ago, we had similar weather patterns. But in the early 80s, I don't know if you remember this, in the early 80s, we had similar weather patterns where it was just unpredictable. It was hot and it was cold. It was raining when it shouldn't have been. It was hot when it shouldn't have been, all this sort of stuff. And at the time, the French were nuclear testing in the Pacific Islands. Do you remember that?
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And everyone was blaming the French nuclear testing on climate change. It's because of the French. It's the French that are doing it.
It's the frogs.
Right? No, seriously, that was the big thing. That's what I go, well, the climate's like this because the French are exploding bombs and it's affecting our environment. See, so who knows? At the end of the day, who knows? I believe that we do contribute. Yes, we do. How much? I don't know. Should they tax the air we breathe? No, fuck no.
No,
absolutely not.
No way. No, because but it's like this half of this money. No one knows where the money's going. Now,
they're not going to tell you either. They're not going to tell you either.
They're going to tax the top 500 companies. No one's yet printed a list of the top 500 companies. Top 500.
I just go to the
polluting.
Yeah. Oh no, that's right. The top 500 pollutants. That's right. But
that's right. Yeah.
I'm not worried about that. I don't care who they tax. Well, I do care who they tax. I shouldn't say that because they shouldn't be taxed at all. But a large portion of what they're collecting goes straight to the United Nations, right? Or the European Union. Meanwhile, those dickheads aren't doing anything to fight climate change. They're not taxing their citizens. We are paying for their shit.
Yeah,
and they're not contributing anything to this pool of fund. This is one big political stunt to make Julia Gillard look like a freaking hero. You know what? She's going to end up like Joan of Arc. That's it. Burned at the stake. But she's useless. She's freaking useless. Useless.
And by the way, like, if for those of you who don't know, Erik has got a rant cam, and you can see Erik's rant cam because he's put a YouTube video up on his what is it? netchannel2.com.
Yes,
website.
netchannel2.com.
You can have a look at his setup. There's a rant cam. So you can have a look at his setup.
There's a rant cam. Righto, one last story before we split.
Yep.
Just a light, airy one. Let's put some thinking music on. All right, millions of children using Facebook illegally. No shit.
Illegally.
Yeah, because they're under 13.
But is it a law?
Yeah, it is. Facebook policy. You got to be 13 and over.
But it's but it's not law.
Oh, it's not law. So
is it?
Let's read on, shall we?
Is it illegal if it's not law?
No. It might be against company policy, but it can't be illegal if it's not law. But let's read on.
No. Yeah. Okay.
Let's read on. Let's see what it says. Let's see if it says it's law. Okay, the Facebook age limit is set by the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, which was made federal law in America in 1998. So yes, it's illegal.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Right.
The Facebook age limit is set by the Children's Privacy Protection Act, which was set in America in 1998. The social network's founder, Mark Zuckerberg, has said he is willing to change the site's regulations to let younger children in if allowed. Well, of course he would, because he makes money off this.
Yeah.
I think he should just stick to the law. And I say, kiddies, rant cam, I say, kiddies, if you're under 13, just wait. What's the rush?
That's right.
Bloody hell, what's the rush?
I love rant cam. But what is the rush? Like, what do you got to do? You just push, are you over 13? Yes. Push a button, yes, and then you're in.
You put your date of birth in. So you fiddle with your date of birth.
Yeah. It should be like you have to, I don't know, how can you tell a person's age online?
You can't.
How can you actually, but how can you, sort of system?
Having a law is one thing, policing it is another.
Yeah, but what sort of system could you introduce to ensure that someone is over a particular age?
I'll tell you what system. And if the socialist communist bastards in this country had their way, they would put this in. So don't get any ideas, Ranger. The Australia card. If every person in the world, in this country, was issued an Australia card, and on the side it says, put in your Australia card ID, and that has your date of birth on it, then you're screwed. That's the only way to stop it.
The Australia card, I thought that would have been a fair idea. I don't see what
I didn't want it.
I understand what the issues were that people were against it, but geez, it'd save a lot of time.
But Milo just said unless they use credit card verification, yeah, that's a good point, Milo. But if the legal age is 13, you can't get a credit card till you're 18, and even if you are 18, a lot of people don't like credit cards. So what do you do then?
Yeah, well, that's right.
Well, you get those, those IDs that you if you get an ID when you're 18, but you haven't got a driver's license, you get those IDs so you can drink at pubs. Someone asks you for ID, you show them an ID. It's not a driver's license. Well,
proof of age.
Proof of age card, right? You could use that.
Yeah.
For Facebook, but if the Facebook law said 18, you could use that. But it says 13. So what are 13-year-olds going to do? They're going to lie.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. How are you going to stop it? How are you going to do it? Don't know.
You can't. Doesn't matter. Don't get any ideas, Julia Gillard. You got gay marriages to worry about. You got the climate change. Oh, you've got a full book, love. Don't worry about it. You're an idiot anyway. You're not going to get any of this stuff sorted out. You're a moron. Move on. Nothing to see here.
Move along. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. So yeah, chewing the fat. We're back.
Fat, episode 19 in the can.
Good stuff.
Thank you, boys. Thank you, boys. Thank you, girls.
Thanks, Eric.
Wrap it up. Let's go. Chewing the Fat, episode 19 in the can.
Thank you, Glenn.
No worries. Thanks, listeners. See you next week.
Netchannel2.com.